Americans park on driveways and drive on parkways. We specify horseback riding. Where else would you ride a horse? Flammable and inflammable mean the exact same thing. American English is completely broken. Here are 10 reasons why. Reason number 1, the word horseback riding. Alright, reason number 1, Americans call it horseback riding, as opposed to what? Horse front riding? Horse-side riding? Where else would you ride the horse? Are we clarifying this in case someone tries to ride the horse's face or stomach? Because I don't think that's a widespread problem. You don't say car seat driving, you don't say bicycle seat riding, but horses? Apparently we need to specify the back. And here's the thing, we only do this with horses. You ride a motorcycle, you ride a bike, you ride a skateboard. None of those require anatomical clarification. But a horse? Better specify the back, just in case someone gets confused and tries to ride it like a surfboard. The phrase exists because in Old English, on horseback meant on the back of a horse to distinguish it from riding in a horse-drawn carriage, which made sense in 1200, but we don't have carriages anymore. We have cars, and yet we're still clarifying that we ride the horse on its back, as if that's not the default assumption. So congratulations, America, we're using medieval clarifications for a mode of transportation most people will never use. Very efficient. Reason number 2, the word restroom. Reason number 2, Americans call it a restroom. No resting occurs. You go in, use the toilet, wash your hands, and leave. At no point are you resting, unless you count sitting on the toilet as resting, which is a stretch. Other countries are more honest. The British call it the toilet, or loo. Australians call it the dunny. Direct, accurate, no ambiguity, but Americans, restroom, as if you're going in there to take a nap. The term comes from the 1900s when public facilities started including lounges where women could sit and refresh themselves. So restroom made sense. There was a resting area attached. But modern restrooms? There's no lounge. There's a toilet, a sink, and sometimes a hand dryer that doesn't work. That's it. And yet we still call it a restroom, because apparently we're too polite to say toilet in public. Americans also use bathroom even when there's no bath, or washroom even though washing isn't the primary function. We have multiple euphemisms for the same room, and none of them are accurate. So we've created an entire vocabulary to avoid saying the room where you poop, and all of the alternatives are lies. Very mature. Reason number 3, the word parkway versus driveway. Reason number 3, this is the big one. You park on the driveway and drive on the parkway. Let me say that again. You park on the driveway, you drive on the parkway. Whoever named these had one job, and they chose chaos. Here's what happened. In the 1800s, a parkway was a scenic road through a park designed for leisurely drives. So you'd drive through a park-like setting. Parkway, that made sense. A driveway was a private road that allowed you to drive up to your house. It was the drive to your residence. Driveway also made sense, but then we stopped thinking about the origins and started judging the names by what we do on them now. And now they're backwards. You don't drive on your driveway, you park there. You don't park on the parkway, you drive there. The names are functionally reversed, and yet no one has ever fixed this. We just accept it. We teach it to children. We use it in conversation. We pretend it's fine. Other languages don't have this problem. In French, the driveway is l'allée. The parkway is la promenade. Clear, logical, no confusion. But America, we've got backwards road names and we're sticking with them out of sheer stubbornness. Reason number 4, the word fanny pack. Reason number 4, Americans call it a fanny pack, which is fine in America where fanny means your butt. But here's the problem. In the UK, Australia, and most of the English-speaking world, fanny means the front, not the back. The front. So when Americans travel abroad and proudly announce they're wearing a fanny pack, Brits hear something very different and very inappropriate. This isn't a small regional difference. This is a complete anatomical reversal. Americans are strapping a bag to their waist and calling it a term that means the exact opposite body part in other countries. The rest of the world calls it a bum bag or a belt bag. Simple, clear, no international incidents. But Americans? Fanny pack, which either means butt bag or something far more awkward depending on which country you're in. And here's the best part. American tourists wear fanny packs everywhere. Theme parks, Europe, cruises, walking around saying fanny pack in countries where that word means something completely different. Australians must think we're obsessed with the weirdest fashion statement imaginable. So congratulations, America. We took a practical storage solution and gave it a name that's anatomically confusing across continents. Very helpful for international travel. Reason number 5. The word drive-through. Reason number 5. Drive-through. Except you don't drive through. You stop. You wait. You idle. You slowly crawl forward 3 feet at a time. If we're being accurate, it should be called drive to then stop and wait through. The whole concept is that you drive through without stopping. That's the promise. That's the efficiency. Except nobody drives through. Everyone stops. For minutes. And here's what makes it even more absurd. We park in parking lots. We don't call them car stopping areas. But we drive through drive-throughs even though we're definitely not driving through. The name made sense in the 1940s when drive-throughs were new and actually fast. You drive up, get your food, and leave. Seamless. No, you drive up, wait behind 4 cars, place your order into a speaker that may or may not understand you, drive forward 2 feet, wait again, receive the wrong order, and then leave. But we still call it a drive-through because apparently we're committed to the lie. And don't even get me started on fast food. There's nothing fast about waiting 15 minutes in a drive-thru for a burger. That's slow food with a branding problem. Reason number 6, the word head over heels. Reason number 6, Americans say head over heels to mean you're completely in love or falling. Except your head is always over your heels. That's the default human position. Unless you're doing a handstand, your head is over your heels. That's just standing. The phrase should be heels over head if we're describing someone flipping or tumbling. That would indicate something unusual. That would mean you're upside down. But no, Americans say head over heels to mean you're so overwhelmed with emotion that you figuratively flipped. Except the phrase describes normal posture. Here's what happened. The phrase was originally heels over head in the 1700s. That made sense. It meant you flipped upside down. Then Americans changed it to head over heels in the 1800s, and now it means the same thing but describes the opposite position. We took a logical phrase and reversed it into nonsense, and now we use it constantly. I'm head over heels in love. You're standing normally in love. Congratulations. Other countries still say heels over head. They kept the logical version, but America, we flipped it, kept the meaning, and called it a day. So now we're all walking around saying we're in our default anatomical position when we mean we're emotionally flipping out. Very poetic. Reason number 7, the word flammable versus inflammable. Reason number 7, flammable and inflammable mean the exact same thing. Both mean can catch fire. You'd think inflammable means not flammable, right? Because that's how prefixes work. Invisible means not visible. Inadequate means not adequate. Inappropriate means not appropriate. But inflammable? Nope, totally flammable. This is so confusing that fire safety organizations had to campaign to remove inflammable from warning labels because people thought it meant fireproof. Imagine seeing inflammable on a gas can and thinking, oh good, it won't catch fire, then lighting a match near it. That's a lawsuit waiting to happen. Here's the etymology. Inflammable comes from Latin inflammare, which means to set on fire. So it means able to be inflamed. That's logical. But English also has the word flammable from Latin flammare, which also means to burn. So now we have 2 words from different Latin roots that mean the same thing, and one of them looks like it means the opposite. And instead of picking one and retiring the other, we just kept both. Because why make things easy? Now we have warning labels that say flammable because inflammable was too confusing. But inflammable still exists in the dictionary, just to keep everyone on their toes. So if you ever see inflammable on something, don't trust your instinct. It means fire hazard, not fire safe. English is a trap. Reason number 8, the word babysitting. Reason number 8, babysitting. Let me ask you something. When was the last time a babysitter actually sat? They're chasing toddlers. They're preventing kids from eating crayons. They're breaking up fights over toy trucks. They're making snacks, changing diapers, reading books, stopping someone from coloring on the wall. There's almost no sitting involved. It should be called baby chasing or baby wrangling or baby surviving. But we call it babysitting because historically, that's what you did. You sat near the baby while it slept. Done. Easy job. Except babies don't sleep anymore. Modern babies are apparently powered by chaos and spite. So the job evolved, but the name didn't. And here's the best part. We don't apply this logic to any other job. Firefighters don't fire sit. Teachers don't student sit. Doctors don't patient sit. But someone watching a child who won't stop moving for 6 consecutive hours? Babysitter. The name implies peaceful supervision. The reality is damage control. And yet every parent in America says, we need a babysitter for Friday, as if they're hiring someone to calmly observe a sleeping infant, not referee a tiny human demolition derby. Reason number 9, the word oversight. Reason number 9, oversight. This is the only word in English that is its own antonym. Oversight can mean watchful supervision, as in, the project was completed under strict oversight. Or it can mean a failure to notice something, as in, the error was an unfortunate oversight. Same word, opposite meanings, no clarification. So if someone says this happened due to oversight, you have no idea if they mean someone was carefully watching or if someone completely missed it. Context usually helps, but the fact that you need context to figure out if a word means supervision or neglect is a design flaw. Other words tried this and failed. Cleave used to mean both to split and to stick together, but we stopped using it that way because it was too confusing. But oversight? Still going strong with its contradictory definitions. Here's how it happened. Oversight originally meant supervision in the 1400s. Then in the 1600s, it also started meaning something you failed to notice. Because if you were supposed to supervise and didn't, that's an oversight. So the word developed two meanings that are functionally opposites, and English just shrugged and kept both. Now we're stuck with a word that can mean we watched carefully or we didn't watch at all, and you just have to guess based on tone. Reason number 10, the word freeway. Reason number 10, Americans call highways freeways, except they're not free and they're not fast. The free in freeway originally meant free of tolls, as in no toll booths. You could drive on it for free, but now most freeways have tolls. Express lanes cost extra. Some cities have congestion pricing. Nothing is free, and the way implies it's a path that gets you somewhere. Except during rush hour, freeways are parking lots. You're not going anywhere. You're sitting in traffic, wondering why you didn't take side streets. So calling it a freeway when it costs money and doesn't move is false advertising. Other states call them highways or interstates, which at least makes geographic sense. But California, freeways, even when they're tolled and gridlocked. And here's the kicker. Americans also say, I'm taking the freeway when they're not taking it anywhere. They're sitting in it, stationary. The 405 in Los Angeles is called a freeway. It's one of the most congested roads in America. The average speed during rush hour is 15 miles per hour. That's not a freeway. That's a traffic jam with lane markings. But we still call it a freeway because the name stuck, and Americans are too stubborn to admit that words don't mean what they used to mean. So there you go. You're paying tolls on a freeway that doesn't move. Welcome to America. So there you have it. Horseback riding specifies the back. Babysitting involves no sitting. Drive-thrus require stopping. Fanny packs mean different body parts in different countries. You park on driveways and drive on parkways. Your head is always over your heels. Flammable and inflammable are the same. Restrooms have no resting. Oversight means watching or not watching. And freeways cost money and don't move. 10 reasons American English makes no sense, and we just accept it. If you love breakdowns of American absurdities that make you question everything, hit subscribe. We've got plenty more linguistic chaos to unpack because America never met a logical system it couldn't confuse.